That is what we've been echoing a lot, that we wouldn't be surprised if there's a superseding indictment, and I don't know. I don't think that May date is going to stick if he's hit with additional charges. That's just my guess.
This week, Combs' attorney filed another appeal trying to get the rapper out on bail. This after a proposed $50 million bail package was rejected over concerns that Diddy is a danger to the community and could tamper with witnesses in this case.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out with some girls.
A man after my heart, that's what I'm talking about.
In a dramatic turn of events, Sean Diddy Combs appeared in court, facing charges that could alter his life forever. The courtroom was packed, the tension palpable, and the world watched as Diddy smiled at the judge during the verdict. What followed next was nothing short of shocking. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as Diddy, dressed in a tan prison-issued uniform, was brought in. Despite the gravity of the situation, Diddy managed to flash a smile at the judge. His family, including his mother Janice and his children, were present, offering silent support.
Yes, Diddy's mother Janice was heckled while heading into court. And for the first time, his 6 oldest children, including 17-year-old twins Delilah and Jesse, arrived together to support their dad. Inside, Diddy was dressed in a tan prison-issued uniform. He smiled and waved to his family when he walked out of the holding cell. A trial has been set for May 5th, which is the same day as the Met Gala. At the center of today's status hearing, who leaked that brutal Cassie video? And could it get the entire case thrown out?
As he entered, Diddy waved to his family, his demeanor seemingly relaxed.
CNN's Kara Scannell is outside of the courthouse. Kara, tell us what happened.
So, Brianna, the judge has set a May 5th trial date for Sean Diddy Combs to face those charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation of prostitution. Now, Diddy was in court today. He entered the courtroom wearing a jail-issued outfit, a khaki long-sleeve shirt, pants. He was also shackled at the ankles. His family members were in the courtroom, his mother and most of his children. He had waved to them, blew a kiss to his mother, and one of his sons had raised and flexed his arm, his bicep, as though to show a sign of strength. Now, this hearing was mostly about procedural issues, working through some.
The judge set a trial date for May 5th, 2025 for Diddy to face charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation of prostitution. The proceedings began with procedural issues, focusing on the evidence gathered. Prosecutors revealed they had seized 96 devices from Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami, raising the stakes even higher.
3 weeks ago, he's been charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and fraud, and he has pleaded not guilty.
MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubens joins us now and has been following this case. So, Lisa, first off, what more did we learn from this hearing?
Well, we learned a couple of things. One, as you pointed out, that May 2025 trial, and it's expected to last roughly 4 weeks, 3 weeks for the prosecution, 1 week for the defense. We also learned that prosecutors seized almost 100 different electronic devices from Sean Combs between his homes and on his person.
As the trial date looms, Diddy's legal team made stunning accusations regarding a leaked video showing Diddy beating his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. They argued that the video had been leaked by law enforcement, aiming to taint the jury pool and prejudice the case against Diddy. The defense requested an investigation into the leaks, claiming the prosecution had obtained the video only after it aired on CNN.
Is there any other place we should be looking at for motive?
You know, I think there's a lot of theories out there. This was on hotel security surveillance footage. Why did this not come out until now? You would imagine that if you were an employee at this hotel and you saw this footage, that the first call would be to the LAPD. Of course, we would never reveal our source or our sources.
CNN, Homeland Security, and the U.S. Attorney's Office all declined to comment. Diddy himself apologized after the videotape was released.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
Today, one of Diddy's lawyers told us he is very strong and doing well. They're asking for a gag order in the case. But lawyer Gloria Allred, who represents Thalia Graves, who has also accused Diddy of rape, did speak outside court today.
What does it mean to go against someone who has such financial means, such as Diddy?
Well, again, for any victim, knowing that the person they allege abused them or hurt them in some ways, to know that he's rich and powerful and famous and could use his celebrity power in some way, they worry.
Also here in court today, the judge ruled that Diddy will remain behind bars for now.
That means Diddy will be spending his 25th night in Brooklyn's notoriously tough Metropolitan Detention Center.
The judge did not immediately rule on the request for an investigation, but indicated that he would consider the arguments presented by both sides. Meanwhile, the defense sought a gag order to prevent the prosecution from discussing any grand jury evidence or non-public evidence before the trial.
Now, the judge said he is not going to decide today on whether they should have a hearing. He's going to let the sides file their legal briefs and their legal arguments on this. But one thing that Combs' lawyers did ask for is what they called a gag order. They want the prosecution to be stopped from talking about any grand jury evidence in this case or any non-public evidence. Now, prosecutors never really discussed that publicly before a trial, and the judge said, in fact, that because that is the rule, he said, is there any harm in imposing this? And the prosecutor had asked the judge to make it reciprocal, to stop Combs' lawyers from saying anything more about any of the evidence in this case. They cited an interview that Combs' lawyer had given to TMZ, in which he suggested that the government was trying to, he accused the government of making a takedown of a successful black man. They said they wanted him to stop talking about that. Combs' lawyer said that if this does go into place, these restrictions on statements, he would abide by it. So the judge asked him to draft what this order would be, send it to him, and he would sign it. So we will learn in the coming days of exactly the contours of what they're prevented from saying.
Adding to the media frenzy, details from Diddy's infamous 4th of July white parties in the Hamptons emerged. These gatherings, attended by celebrities and high-profile individuals, were known for their lavish and sometimes debauched nature. A particularly disturbing account came from a now-adult man who recalled attending one of these parties as a child, witnessing drug use and inappropriate behavior.
Now imagine you're a 6-year-old kid and you find yourself a guest there. Allison Hall has more.
Can you believe this 6-year-old boy was once a guest at Diddy's infamous white party? The disgraced mogul has his arm draped around a young Justin Livtoski back in 1999. Justin is now 31 and tells Inside Edition about taking that photo.
He put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way, close to areas that you shouldn't as a grown man.
He recalls what he saw at the party.
So I remember marijuana, and topless women. That's the two main things that I remember.
So, how'd he end up there? Well, his father, David Allen, was Diddy's photographer, snapping pictures of partygoers in the Hamptons. Justin's mom, Maya, was also there. She says the party was family-friendly at first, but then turned raunchy.
People were getting high. There were girls swimming topless, young-looking girls that were, not dressed. We moved to another part of the house so that he wouldn't be exposed to what was going on.
In later years, Diddy implemented a curfew for children.
The kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable. This thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to.
I think he's a monster.
This week, Houston-based lawyer Tony Busby says more than 120 people are coming forward with claims Diddy sexually abused them.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15.
Did Diddy assault you in any way?
When you say assault, I don't know the exact definition, but he put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way.
Diddy's legal troubles were compounded by new allegations from his former photographer's son, who described uncomfortable encounters and inappropriate behavior at these infamous parties. The image of Diddy, once a glamorous host, was now overshadowed by these serious accusations.
There has been negative propaganda put out about me that's not true, and has really tried to stain my legacy.
And we have more breaking news. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is accused of rape. A lawsuit by R&B singer Cassie claims that she was in a years-long relationship with Combs that also involved beatings.
Sean Diddy Combs has been hit with another lawsuit just as he settles his first. Now, the time Joy Dickerson-Neal claims that she was a victim of revenge porn, in addition to allegedly being drugged and sexually assaulted by the musician back in 1991.
Well, looking at this lawsuit, Cassie, she claims that her and Diddy had freak-off sessions.
You talking about the freak-off session where they used to do in the studio and all of that over different entertainers' houses and stuff? When we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they've been to have something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there. So we already knew what the drill was.
Thing you could imagine why somebody would want to fire somebody.
Can you give us a little?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas.
Yes, this is P. Diddy with his pants down. And yes, this is a real photo. This is not AI. Apparently he was performing in front of a bunch of guys, but this is actually a real photo. This is the man that might lose everything. Today we're gonna dive deep into this question. Has his past finally caught up with him?
Diddy's legal team faced an uphill battle in securing bail for the music mogul, despite offering a substantial bail package secured by his Miami estate and proposing stringent monitoring conditions. The judge denied the request, citing Diddy as a potential threat to witnesses and a danger to the community as even more disturbing allegations surface.
Tupac Shakur's family is still seeking answers about the prolific rapper's 1996 murder. And in some rather surprising news, they have hired attorney Alex Spiro to investigate any possible connection to Sean Diddy Combs.
The family of the late rapper Tupac Shakur has hired a team of investigators to look into what they say is a link between Sean Diddy Combs and the murder of the hip-hop star in 1996.
Spiro, known for representing Alec Baldwin in his recent Rust legal case, will now focus on whether Diddy had a role in Tupac's death.
Do you think that he may have actually had anything to do with the death of Tupac?
Well, there's always been talk about Diddy being involved in that.
Tupac was killed in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas in 1996, a case that remains unsolved. However, in September 2023, Las Vegas police arrested Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who was described as the, quote, mastermind, though not the shooter. Davis has pleaded not guilty and will stand trial in March 2025. Court documents reveal that Davis previously claimed Diddy offered up to $1 million for Tupac's murder.
The man now charged with orchestrating that hit has claimed that Diddy paid to have Tupac killed.
Diddy's attorney, Anthony Rico, spoke about his client's adjustment to incarceration, emphasizing the emotional toll and the support from his family. Rico highlighted the challenges of maintaining a positive outlook while behind bars, a sentiment echoed by many familiar with the harsh conditions of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
We're going to take you now over to New York City. Just a short time ago, lawyers for Sean P. Diddy Combs spoke to reporters after today's court hearing. It's pretty brief, but let's listen.
How's he doing?
I can never remember what I said over here.
How's he doing?
He's doing fine. Dr. King called it the law of unintended consequences. So sometimes the more you push a person down, the stronger they get. And so he's making an adjustment. He had his family here today to support him. We really want to put an end to all of the clowning that we see on the internet. This is a serious proceeding with serious consequences, and all of us are addressing it accordingly.
Anthony, is it a racist proceeding, as Mark has said? He's okay to stay in jail for now? He doesn't want to...
Nobody's okay with staying in jail for now. Okay, thank you very much. That's it for today.
All right, short comments from P. Diddy's lawyers. He said, in part, that these are serious proceedings with serious consequences. We will continue to monitor everything coming from the courthouse there, and we'll bring you all the latest.
The case took another twist when it was revealed that federal prosecutors might file additional charges. The scope of the investigation appeared to be expanding, with more evidence and potential defendants coming into play. This revelation suggested that the upcoming trial could become even more complex and drawn out.
At Miami, 36 different devices were seized, 29 were extracted
distracted. And in LA, 51 devices were seized, 24 have been extracted. They say the 8 terabytes of data, that information could come about in the next 2 weeks or so, and they're working on the production, another production of the subpoena returns. And so the defense pretty much didn't object to too much inside the courtroom today. Agnifilo also appeared kind of confident during his arguments. I know a lot of people were kind of expecting for the bail or bond argument to be happening, but that didn't happen, and it appeared that the defense kind of, I'm trying to find the right word here, but they were pretty much complying with all the prosecution's arguments and plan to kind of have everything all good and set to go by May. Now, by the time the end of the year is to happen, I forgot one big turn right here. They did mention that a potential superseding indictment could come. Now, obviously that hasn't happened yet, but the investigation is still ongoing. And so, we don't know a lot of information as far as what that could look like, but it appears that we could expect more charges to come later on, potentially by the end of the year.
Throughout the proceedings, the influence of Diddy's celebrity status was undeniable. His high-profile connections and significant wealth became focal points in the narrative, with the prosecution and defense both leveraging these aspects to their advantage. Attorney Gloria Allred, representing several alleged victims, underscored that fame should not shield anyone from the consequences of their actions.
Attorney Gloria Allred is representing some of Diddy's accusers. Our Michelle Fisher sat down with Allred to speak exclusively about the atmosphere surrounding the high-profile case.
It's really all about power and abuse of power.
Prominent attorney Gloria Allred, who has represented accusers of Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and R. Kelly, speaking exclusively with Eyewitness News. She now represents an undisclosed number of Sean Diddy Combs' alleged victims, including Talia Graves.
The trauma of the assault has taken a toll on my mental health.
Tonight's 2020 special, The Secret Life of Diddy, detailing Combs' fall as he faces individual and class action lawsuits and federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, forced sex trafficking, and prostitution. He's pleaded not guilty, his attorney saying prosecutors are seeking to criminalize sex that was consensual.
Consent is a big issue, and it is the government's burden in a criminal case to prove any charge and all charges beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a very high burden of proof.
Diddy's continued incarceration highlighted the serious nature of the charges and the court's stance on ensuring justice is served, regardless of the defendant's status. His lawyers argued that he posed no flight risk due to his notoriety and proposed strict conditions for his release, but the judge remained unconvinced.
Extra has obtained the new 31-page document Diddy's lawyers just filed with the court, pleading their case to win his freedom on a $50 million bail. Inside the papers, Diddy's lawyers insist he is not a flight risk, calling him one of the most recognizable people on earth. Its attorneys revealed he paid off the $18 million he owed on his $48 million South Florida mansion in August, 2 weeks before his arrest, so it could be used for collateral. They insist if Combs is allowed out before trial, a third-party security force would monitor him 24/7 by GPS, with video cameras on him the entire time if necessary. He would also have no access to phones or the internet. 2 other judges have already denied Diddy's release. His appearance before a judge is the latest high-stakes, high-dollar legal maneuver. It comes after dozens of new accusers made disturbing new accusations and after the government announced its jaw-dropping allegations against him.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
The case against Sean Combs might as well just be called the freak-offs.
Tonight, ABC's Secret Life of Diddy is taking a deep dive into the case.
Sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
And now, legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer is exposing what they found.
The baby oil, the guns, the videos, the corroborating statements from multiple alleged victims. There's so much to uncover in this story.
Diddy's legal team continued to push for an expedited trial, arguing that prolonged detention detention without bail was unjust. They emphasized the extensive measures proposed to ensure Diddy would not pose a risk if released. However, the prosecution countered with concerns about witness tampering and the potential influence of Diddy's wealth and connections.
MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry, but take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
The inmates that you're surrounded around, just in general, a lot of them are brought up on pretty heavy federal indictments, right? So just in terms of the atmosphere there, it's just certainly one that no one wants to be in.
Combs was placed in a special housing unit and on suicide watch, the standard protocol for high-profile celebrity detainees. The disgraced mogul was denied bail by 2 separate judges. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, asked the court to transfer him to the federal detention section at the Essex County Jail, but the judge deferred to the Bureau of Prisons.
That's it for now. Don't forget to tell us what you think in the comments below. For more updates, hit the bell icon.